Recording. I don't have a number. Can you put them?
And the only way to get to the top is to play the highly safe, high.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's 3 o'clock and we're going to go ahead and get started. Just appreciate everybody's time and joining today. My name is Jen Rotson. I'm going to get us started and then hand it over to other individuals that have been working on the ADP transition. And just again, another request to mute your line. Sometimes it can cause a lot of feedback if lines aren't muted, and there's a lot of people on this call today. So we're going to go ahead and get started. This is exciting for us as we transition from Kronos. We've had Kronos for a number of years, and we are transitioning now to ADP.
Mhm.
That transition will be effective. Our first paycheck that will be in ADP is the pay period that begins March 24th. And we're going to step through everything that you need to know as far as how to complete that first time card. So just a couple of agenda items for today. Again, we're going to do a brief overview of what we call a workforce manager in ADP, and that's really the time and attendance functionality of the system. I'm going to briefly talk about the mobile capabilities. Our conversation and focus today is really going to be on completing your time card on the desktop. We'd like everybody to kind of get familiar with the desktop, and then as you get more comfortable with that, certainly if you want to branch out and use the mobile app, you absolutely can. So we'll be giving you some instructions about that. We're going to show you how to add hours to your time card and do some of those other things on your time card, like adding mileage reimbursement to your time card. We're also going to review how to submit a PTO request, how to cancel a PTO
because I'm not going to
request.
remember how to do this.
If you change your mind and don't want to take that PTO day. So those are some of the highlights of what we're going to cover today. So at this point, I am going to turn it over to Shana Daly, who's going to step us through a couple things. But again, please, if you are able to, please mute your line. That avoids any sort of background so that people can hear the whole presentation. So thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. And I'm actually going to mute everyone just to avoid some of the background interference. So just give me 1 second. Okay, and can everybody still see my screen?
Yep.
Great. So first, we're going to go over what is Workforce Manager, also referred to as ADP MyWork. ADP Workforce Manager essentially houses time and attendance. So it's the equivalent to what you now know in Kronos as timekeeping. So this is where you will view your time card, you will report your hours worked, and then this flows directly with payroll so that you are paid. We're going to briefly go over some mobile functionality as well, but primarily the focus today is going to be on the desktop view of Workforce Manager. Accessing Workforce Manager on the desktop is quite easy. You're going to first log into Workforce Now. We're working with Prelude currently. They're going to be pushing out a shortcut on all of the Diacon computers, much like we have today with Kronos. But you can also access it via the website, which is in this PowerPoint, and we'll be distributing these materials to everybody on the call. Once you log into Workforce Now, you're going to locate the My Team tab at the top of your dashboard, and then you're going to navigate to the Workforce Management dashboard. Once you log in to Workforce Now, your login for Workforce Manager is the same. So it's a single sign-on, and your landing page is going to look a little bit like the snapshot that you see here in this slide.
So once you're on that platform, you're going to want to locate My Time Card. For, I think most people, it's going to be the last little tile there on that main screen. Click that little arrow, and that'll take you to show a view of what your time card is going to look like. The difference here is that this group of people have what's called project view. It looks different in the sense that you're seeing only 1 week of pay at a time, and it's also kind of going across the screen as opposed to just showing this massive time card. So once you're in that screen, you're going to want to click add. Well, you'll just add your hours in the blocks under each of those days. So in this example, it's showing some days there in February where you just would put in your hours. That's the default, that's your hours worked. And then on the next slide, we're going to show you where if you have to add another line, you're going to click the plus sign at the top that says add new. And this is going to be where it's a little different because you're going to have this little box that pops up. And in there, you'll be able to select things like your mileage reimbursement, where that'll then create a new line. Once you hit apply, it'll create a new line on your time card. And then once that's created, you'll be able to type in the number of miles that you worked. It's going to be the same as we've been doing. You enter a number of miles, and the system will know to calculate it out at the new rate of 67 cents a mile for you. Once that's done and you're satisfied with your time card, you'll click the save button. But just also a little tip to keep in mind, at the bottom of all your time cards, you'll be able to view the totals. So I just encourage people to also, you know, at the end of each pay to check those totals as well. Oh, and you can also add comments. That's very similar to what you can do now in Kronos. So if you need to add a comment, that's going to be the same function as we currently do.
Submitting PTO requests in Workforce Manager can also be done by one of the key tiles on your landing page. You'll have a My Time Off tile when you log into Workforce Manager, and you'll complete the required fields. So things like start time, end time, the date that you're requesting off. PTO requests in Workforce Manager do need to be submitted with a beginning and an ending time. You'll also want to not forget to deduct your 30-minute meal break when you are requesting time off. So I have an example here. So Susie works 8 to 4. She'll be requesting off 8 to 3:30, taking into consideration that 30-minute break. Once you hit submit, you'll get a little success box, and it will go to your supervisor then for approval. To cancel your time off request, you'll notice a bell icon on the top right-hand side of your dashboard. You'll navigate to that bell, and you're going to select the appropriate PTO alert that you submitted, and a control center panel is where you're going to select that. Once you select that PTO, you can go ahead and cancel the request. When you submit cancel, it's going to be automatically approved, and then a notification will be sent to your supervisor if you requested a cancellation. I wanted to go over a couple of important items related to PTO information as we embark this transition. All available accrued PTO and extended leave balances will be extracted from Kronos and imported into ADP. However, if you have a PTO request that was submitted and approved for on or after that go live date, so March 24th, that will not be imported into ADP. That said, those requests do need to be resubmitted once we are in ADP. The other really important thing is to notify you that PTO balances are not going to appear right away when you log into ADP. We have to close out payroll in Kronos before we can import those balances in. So just ask that you give us a little bit of grace while we rectify payroll, close it out, and then we will import those into ADP.
So approving your time card. This is something that I know not everybody remembers to do, but we are encouraging people to please, to remind you to please review your time cards and do that level of approving. Not approving doesn't mean you won't get paid, but it just kind of gives us that, assurance that yes, you took another look over it and it looks good to you. So back to like I showed you before, when you're on the main page, you select My Time Card, you click that little arrow. It's going to, again, take you into view your time card. Again, you're only going to see 1 week at a time. So make sure you're toggling back and forth, between that next button and that previous button. And then once you are satisfied, which again, pull up the totals on the bottom. That's a great little feature that gives you the grand total for your pay. Just click that little checkbox at the top that says approve. It's pretty simple. And just to kind of like a little reminder, this is a different view than you're used to seeing in Kronos. So again, just remember that you're only going to see 1 week at a time. So don't be alarmed. You just hit that next button. You'll see your second week of the pay period. Again, the totals button at the bottom, I can't stress that enough. It just gives you a high level view of everything. So if say you had 70 miles you meant to enter and you entered 700 or something, it just kind of gives you that added layer of review to look at your time card. And also just a reminder, our policies and procedures are still going to be the same, and you can find them on our portal under Ministry Support, Ministry Support, Human Resources, under our policies and procedures.
As we mentioned early on, there is some mobile functionality with the ADP Mobile App, which is very different than Kronos today. So this does mean that you can request time off and you can even report your hours worked more conveniently. The mobile apps are not required. And again, everything is single sign-on. So the login information you're using to get into Workforce Now and Workforce Manager is the same. And that is also true then for the mobile app. Really just strongly encouraging that everybody on this group here gets comfortable with the desktop view before navigating the mobile app, but we'll include some additional information about mobile app functionality as well.
So as far as next steps go, and before I maybe move on, just want to share that we will be sharing a copy of this presentation, the recorded version as well as the PowerPoint presentation. Due to size limitations, however, it will be posted on our ADP link for information. So we'll let you know, we'll send out a communication when those are available. So just wanted you to know that, we're talking a lot, we're showing you this, but when you actually go to complete your time card, we want to also make sure you have a resource to kind of refer back to. So we will certainly be getting that out to you. So some things that you can do, you should have received a registration code via email to help you initially get enrolled into the ADP solution. If you do not believe you received that registration code, we did have a prior training and someone mentioned that they thought it was a spam email, so they deleted it and needed to go back in and retrieve it from their email. So if you feel like you did not receive that email, certainly check to make sure you didn't delete it. But if you did not receive it, please reach out to your local HR representative and they'll be able to retrieve that registration code for you so that you can get set up. It'll be really important for you to do that prior to March 24th because you will need to have access to the system, obviously, in order to complete your time card. So the sooner you get access and get yourself set up, you'll be all ready for March 24th when we go live into ADP. Once we are in that payroll period, so our very first payroll, like I said earlier, it begins March 24th. I encourage you to go in and complete your time card as quickly as you can, or maybe go in each day just to get acclimated to the system. We are asking that everybody complete their time card by that Friday. So that gives your supervisor an opportunity to go in and approve time cards. This will be their first pay period that they're going in as a supervisor and approving time cards. So they might need a little bit of time to get acclimated as well. So we just want to make sure everybody's kind of sticking to those timelines. If you see any issues, so once you go into the system, if you experience any issues, if something does not appear as you expect it to be, or you're having any sort of access issue, we do have some contact information. So you can always reach out to your HR representative, but we also have emails for both the payroll hotline as well as the HR central hotline for you to use in the event that you have any issues or concerns.
Jen, I'm sorry, I just have a quick question, but I can wait until the end if you'd rather.
Yes, Stacy, if you don't mind, we'll just take all the questions at the end, but I'll make sure we circle back with you, okay?
No problem, yep.
So this is just kind of the start of ADP. We certainly wanted to focus on getting all of the employee data transferred into ADP and get to a point where everybody was able to be completing time cards and issuing paychecks through ADP. But there will be some other things coming in the future that will be part of the ADP solution. We will be looking at ways to communicate with staff through ADP. There's capabilities to send messages out to everybody within Diacon as well as specific groups within Diacon. So we'll be exploring that functionality. And then there's also an employee discount program called LifeMart that is already available. And if you participated in the training last week regarding kind of more of the Workforce Now self-service capabilities within ADP, they did also review the LifeMart options as well. So just again, more to come with ADP, but certainly this is kind of our beginning point. I am going to pause there. I think we do have some questions that have come in through chat. Certainly, if anybody has any other additional questions, you can either let us know and speak your question, or you can put your question in chat. But I will start, Stacy, with you, whatever question that you might have.
So I did get the code. I logged in and signed up on the desktop. But when I go to click on the dashboard under Workforce Management, nothing happens.
Yes.
It's just...
So that's a good question. So for right now in this moment, you have access to Workforce Now. So when you logged in, you might have seen some information, your information. You have access to that. Right now, Workforce Manager, which is time and attendance, is locked down. It probably will be available early next week. We just have to kind of flip a switch. And so it'll probably be available early next week.
Okay, perfect. Just want to make sure.
Good question. Thank you. I think there are a few people in the chat that indicate that they haven't received a code. Again, if you feel that you have not received a code, and the codes were sent out via the email that we had on record in the Kronos system. So if you feel like you've not received that code, if you reach out to your HR representative, they will be able to retrieve that code for you and provide that to you. There was a question, somebody wanted to confirm about not including the lunch break in the PTO time. So Shana, do you mind commenting on that?
Yes, that's correct. So in ADP, the PTO request is submitted with a start and an end time, not a duration, which we've seen in the past. So that is correct. You do want to deduct your 30-minute meal break from your request so that you are not overusing PTO for that day. I believe someone else had asked about the PTO, if they would recommend submitting it day by day. I would recommend that, just again, so that you're not using more PTO than you need to get the day off. So again, if you start your day at 8 and you typically work until 4, you'll submit 8 to 3:30 so that you're using that 7.5 hours, for example. Somebody asked, when do we stop entering our time in Chronos? So the pay period that we are currently in now is the final pay period in Chronos. So that would be ending on March 23rd. So that would be the final day. You would be adding any hours worked, mileage, etc. The first official day in ADP is going to be Sunday, March 24th. So for our night shift team members, which isn't super applicable with this group, those individuals coming in night shift on Saturday, the 23rd at 11 p.m. will officially be clocking in at that time. So again, Saturday, the 23rd would be the last day to report hours in Chronos.
Shane, I think you might have mentioned this before, but do you want to talk a little bit? I think you've requested a icon be added to our desktops to take you right to ADP.
Yep, I submitted a ticket yesterday with Prelude, and they'll be pushing out a shortcut on all of the Diacon computers. From what I understand, it's not a very lengthy process, and as soon as it has been pushed to those computers, I will make sure that everybody is aware of that. So again, you can use that shortcut just like you used the Chronos shortcut today to access the website.
Darla and Stephanie, there's a question regarding, it says in Chronos, we were not expected to approve our own time cards. It sounds like ADP expects us to approve our own time card. Do you want to comment about that, Darla?
Sure. It's not that it's expecting you to, or it will in any way hinder your pay. It's just something we're encouraging. It's something we always encourage to do, but now that we're on a new platform, we're just hoping people will take that extra layer to actually review it in depth and approve it. So if you do forget, if it's something you're not accustomed to, there's no harm against it. Obviously, we still are asking supervisors to approve, but from the employee level, not required, but we just are requesting.
Can I just, this is Lisa, can I just make a comment on that?
Sure.
As a supervisor, I know that I like to see that my employees have approved their cards so that I know that it's ready for me to approve. So that's just kind of a helpful hint. I think it is helpful when employees approve their own cards so we know that it's complete.
Yeah, no, that is a great point, Lisa, because to that point too, because a lot of times if your supervisor would approve your card, you can't remove their approval. So it is just something we're trying to encourage now that we have a new platform going out. And someone mentioned they entered time. It's going to get wiped out in ADP. So if you accidentally added time to your time card in ADP already, well, good for you. You're being super, super proactive, but they will wipe it out because they're currently working on it.
Dawn, I know that you put a message in here that you were having trouble. You have your registration code, but you're having a trouble logging in or getting set up. I'm making myself a note, and we'll reach out to you to troubleshoot that issue.
So I'm curious, does all time get entered as productive, i.e. if we are at a conference for work or something, does that time still go in as productive?
Judy, any time that you're working on behalf of the organization, that time should be recorded as productive time or hours worked.
Thank you.
Sure. I am sure that there will be additional questions, either, as you think through things as we end the session, or once you are actually into the system and start looking around and completing your time card, we've recognized that there will be questions and things that arise. Please reach out. Again, the presentation that we will be posting on the ADP updates site will have all of the contact information, as well as you certainly can reach out to your local HR representative at any time as well. I'm just going to pause one more time just to see if there are any additional questions at this time. Okay, well, hearing none, again, a big thank you to all of you for participating today. Please reach out with any questions. Again, you know, we're hope for a very smooth transition, but we also recognize when any time we're doing a major transition like this, there's going to be questions, there could be bumps. And again, certainly here to try to help navigate those as they come up. So appreciate everybody's time today. Hope you have a good rest of your afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.